Hey again, good evening. So we had a question about the Gutaye classification, whether or not you could actually see it on MRI, whether I could tell it or I had to wait for a radiologist to read it for me. We did a video together. I'm going to pull up a couple of images from the MRI that you can easily see whether this is a Gutaye 4, and also look at the length of the tendon, because the tendon length and the Gutaye grade together tells us whether or not it's a fixable or not. And just remember that if it's not fixable, doesn't mean we can't do anything. There are other things that we can do. It just means we probably shouldn't try to fix it, because most likely if we try to fix it, as we discussed previously, it's going to fail. And that's going to really stink for someone who goes through a lot of pain, a lot of recovery, attempted recovery from a rotator cuff repair just for to fail and having to start again with a new operation. So we need to know when to say when. As surgeons, we need to know our options, and we need to have a game plan before we do a surgery to make sure it's the right surgery the best we can, and make sure we take care of you right. We're in this together, and so I hope you enjoy this clarification of a previous video. Like, subscribe, enjoy this video. Any comments, please let me know, and we'll keep on bringing them to you. There's a question that I got after the video about the Gutaye classification, which is how you can tell whether a rotator cuff can be fixed or not. And one of the ways to determine that is the Gutaye classification. This classification is when you look at the MRI, and the question was, if you look at the MRI, can you really see it, or are you just asking for the radiologist to read it for you? So one of the stipulations of this classification determining whether it can be fixed or not is we get an MRI of the scapular Y. This is an MRI of the scapular Y. We see scapular Y because this is actually the Y. So this is actually where the supraspinatus lives. And what we're going to see in a Gutaye 4 is that more of the space is filled with fat, which is the white stuff, and less is filled with muscle, which is this stuff here. And so a normal rotator cuff, we would see all of this filled with this dark stuff. Dark stuff is muscle in the scapular Y. And then in grade 0, all of it looks normal. Grade 1, as you remember, has little streaks of fat. Grade 2 has more muscle than fat. Grade 3 has equal muscle and fat. And grade 4, which is this one, has more fat than muscle. So that's the number one, or the step one of this. The step 2 of this is if we look at another view. This other view is actually, we look at an AP, or front to back view of the rotator cuff and of the glenohumeral joint, which is what we call this. The glenohumeral joint actually is, this is the ball and this is the socket, and the rotator cuff is here. Now the problem is this rotator cuff needs to come all the way over here and attach over here, and it's not. So it's torn here and retracted, pulled back to here. And then we can measure the length of the tendon. If the length of the tendon is more than 15 millimeters, then there's a chance we can fix it. If it's less than 15 millimeters, like this, which is 12.7, it means we're not going to be fix it, which means most likely if we have Gutaye grade 4 and a tendon less than 15 millimeters, we're not going to be able to take this and bring it all the way back over here. There's too much damage, there's too much changes in the tissue that doesn't allow us to fix it. And that's how we as orthopedic surgeons, and as you as a layperson, could look at the MRI, and you could actually measure this or have a pretty good idea. And then you could look at this and have a pretty good idea. You actually probably don't even need an orthopedic surgeon, and you don't really even need a radiology report to get a general sense of, hey, this is not going to be fixable. So anyway, this is how we tell, and this is in real life. This is actually some images from the patient population that I serve to give you an idea that this is not a fixable rotator cuff. So we got to talk about doing something else. Hope this helps, and we'll talk to you soon.